Hi, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Tim Froude. I'm President and CEO of Sokoman Minerals Corp, and today we'll be going over the recent drilling results at Moosehead, specifically results from holes drilled in and around the 463 zone, as well as a couple of holes from the 511 zone at South Pond. We are quite excited with what we are seeing, in particular from hole 519, where we see high grades have returned, and the number of high angle veins encountered in many holes point to two key items. One, that the 463 zone sits perpendicular to the main eastern trend, and two, that the orientation of the veins suggests a completely different direction of fluid flow as it relates to the gold mineralization. This means that the eastern trend may not be the controlling structure for the gold mineralization, a key structure nonetheless, but not necessarily one that controls the emplacement of all of the gold at Moosehead. These new ideas come from discussions with structural consultant Dr. David Collar, as well as results from the recent drilling. This opens up the entire footwall environment below the main eastern trend as a target area with very limited previous drilling based on the orientation of the footwall veins. We'll now be joined by Mr. Ryan Newman, our exploration manager and the fellow in charge of our in-house modeling and drill planning. Take it away, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Right now I'll go ahead and start with a satellite image of the overall property, and then as we move forward we'll zoom in and show our main mineralized zones that sit in the central portion of the property. I'll start to the southern portion of the property, highlighted here in green, being the 511 zone that sits directly underneath South Pond, then the South Pond zone itself, which sits on the northern shoreline. Then in yellow we move into the 75 zone, and then up into the footwall splay. Blue, we have the western trend. In what is the transparent light gray, we have the eastern trend, and in dark red, we have our 463 zone. As we rotate around in 3 dimensions, we see the various orientations of each of these zones. Right now, with most recent drilling, we have focused on the 463 zone and the 511 zone. Right now, the 511 zone was initially discovered while testing some regional geophysical targets, where hole 511 intersected 20 meters of 1 gram per ton gold within our arsenopyrite-rich mafic dike. Most recent drilling in holes 514 and 516 intersected numerous zones that range from 0.5 to 3 meters in thickness and 0.5 gram to 2 grams per ton. Moving into 463, which initially drilled testing the gold mineralization within the main eastern trend shear, then went on to intersect what is now known to be 39 meters of 12.5 grams that was well within the footwall of the eastern trend. This outlined a new orientation of high-grade vein that wasn't previously seen before. So right now, our most recent drilling from the west side of the pond to the east have targeted the 463 zone at a target depth of around 400 meters down the hole, have now outlined a set of veins that outline a potentially new plumbing system that is actually perpendicular to the main eastern trend shear. This plumbing system could very likely be the gold travel along these veins, and then the veins themselves get entrained within the eastern trend shear. Going forward, as we look at the potential, then to depth, we have to follow this new orientation of the plumbing system, and it also highlights numerous target areas all along the eastern trend because of the new orientation that hasn't previously been seen before.
Thank you for that, Ryan. That was a very good overview and an excellent explanation as to what the current, I guess, round of thinking is at Moosehead. Clearly, it's a complicated system, and the fact that the whole footwall now is apparently open for for renewed exploration at deeper levels and along strike, of course, because the 463 zone is is quite deep and rather restricted at the present, just because there's only a few holes in it. But You know, it's one of those things. You know, sometimes the best zones aren't found until, you know, much later on in exploration, and even in some cases until you actually are mining. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we've learned a lot with these 7 or 8 holes that we've reported today, and we're going to use that to move forward. Dr. Collar is very confident that, you know, we're now finally getting, you know, some indications that, yeah, there's definitely an alternate plumbing system here at Moosehead, and we need to investigate this to the fullest, and that's something that we're going to be looking at moving forward. So thank you very much for this today.